Hi, how you guys doing? Full disclosure, I have not found the treasure, but I believe I have found the location of where it was hidden. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, nor am I any sort of historian or an archaeologist of any sort. I'm just someone who likes to solve riddles. So enjoy this video. I'll be going over the breakdown of how I came upon solving the riddles and some of the clues, as well as some shots of what I saw on my journey. I hope you guys enjoy, and yeah. When I got news that the treasure was already found, I was a bit bummed. Tickets were already purchased. I thought I was pretty close to finding out the solution, but I thought, you know what, might as well keep going with this, see how close I might have been. Might as well give it a shot. Alright, let's get started.
All is not well on the heavy front.
Who would have thought, after 10 years, I made it this far, might as well see if my hunch was correct. Begin it where warm waters halt. There are tons of places within the region where literally warm waters can halt, so he must be pointing to a specific one. So I looked at the overall big picture that Fenn even mentioned, which was, don't overthink it and just, especially consider the map. What if maybe he is considering a specific state, really narrowed down? Alright, so warm, maybe take it as a color, perhaps let's go with red for example. Waters, must be a lot of water, so it could be an ocean or a sea. Put that together, you've got Red Sea. Okay, well there isn't exactly the Red Sea, but I do know that based on Fenn's history that he was a religious man. So he might have been referring to the Red Sea in biblical terms when Mozart parted the water. Parted the Red Sea. Well, what does that mean in terms of the location? Well, the Red Sea, each state has its own symbolic representation on its flag, and if you look carefully at one of them, you've got the Red Sea for Colorado. And take it in the canyon down. Put a lot of thought into this, thinking, okay, if the first stance maybe has anything to do with the state, maybe the second stance has something to do with perhaps the city to really narrow it down. So I looked at the map, looked at all the different cities to see what correlates with and take it in the canyon down. And I thought to myself, well, okay, down the canyon, there's lots of spots where you can go down the canyon, but what if being canyon down is referring to the type of canyon? So I looked at what down could also represent, being low, maybe not of par, maybe it could be meaning the opposite of what a canyon is. So I did some Google, did some research, and I found out that the opposite of canyon is junction. And then I thought, okay, what about and take it in? Not literally take it, but like absorb it, take it all in. Something marvelous, something huge, something extreme, something grand. And then I looked at the two, and take it in the canyon down. What city in Colorado has that comparison? Not far, but too far to walk. Well, the very middle of Grand Junction you've got downtown, so I highly doubt that Fenn went to downtown just to bury the treasure there, so I figured what's nearby that's not too far, definitely too far to walk, that might be of some sort of significance. So I did a lot of research around Grand Junction to see of some attractions, maybe some parks, maybe some places of interest. And one that keeps popping up over and over is Colorado National Monument. Looking at that, it's definitely too far to walk from downtown, but it's not that far. Alright, off to find a treasure. Whatever, I'm just here to have fun and see what might be there. If not, then, at least we could say that's the outline of where it was, and, yeah, at least it was worth the journey, right? Thrill of the chase, as they call it. Put in below the home of Brown. Now that was a tough one, but on some of the research I did, I found a small town just outside of Grand Junction called Fruita. And it's actually a pretty cool small town. It's got a lot of history. Brown, of course, must have some sort of significance because the B in Brown is capitalized. Home of Brown, right? It can't just mean like a brown tree, brown trout, brown dirt. It's got to mean either someone's name or just some sort of significance. So what I did was I did some research on Fruita. What else could have been the home of? I found out on some research I did that actually Fruita was originally the home of the Ute people, UTE, Native Americans that have been around Colorado and Utah and some other parts of the Midwest. Now, at first you're thinking, okay, well, these aren't brown people. These are, well, yeah, exactly. But if you look at the history of the Ute, specifically Native Americans, they go back as far as thousands of years, back to the Aztec era. And of course, that resided in Mexico. In Mexico, home of brown. There you go. Not to be racist. From there, it is no place for the meek. Well, the very first spot on the map for Colorado National Monument, once you've put in the home of brown, is a section called Dead Man's Curve. No place for the meek, the weak. Obviously, it must be pertaining to Dead Man's Curve. And I thought, okay, let me back that up and do some more research. And I found out that for the meek could also mean referring to the Meeker Massacre that happened in Colorado back in the 1870s, where him and a bunch of people were slaughtered. Now, of course that's no place for somebody like him. So it's gotta be Dead Man's Curve.
A quick stop over the visitor center just to kind of check out the sights, because from what I saw it looks pretty cool.
The end is ever drawing nigh, coming to the end. But my first thought is this: keep following the map that I was looking at for Colorado National Monument. There is a spot, before I mention it, is that if you think of drawing nigh, perhaps drawing nigh, to the end, almost, at point. There will be no paddle up your creek. No water, don't need a paddle. Such a creek could be a canyon or even a trail. And the nearest trail to Artist Point, you've got Coke Ovens Trail.
There's so much manual labor involved in just getting from the car to the beginning of this trail. It's crazy. But, well, I'm not in a rush. I should enjoy the sights. I mean, that's the point. I doubt anybody else knows why I'm here exactly. So, don't tell anybody.
Just heavy loads and water high. Maybe it has something to do with the name of the trail. And again, I just keep looking at the map to help me guide along. And if you think of heavy loads in this case for Coke Ovens Trail, well, coke, from doing the research I did, is a substance that was used in coal and mining. And actually, when you think of heavy loads, they used a lot of it. So heavy loads of that, while the workers back in the 19th century, and even now, is a very popular product. And in terms of water high, they use this and put them in coke furnaces or coke ovens, where the process, they vaporize or decompose organic substances in coal, driving off any excess water. So water high, it's gotta make sense for Coke Ovens Trail.
I swear it said point 2 earlier. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down.
Well, the blaze in this case, a lot of people, figured it would be an actual arrowhead or a formation on a rock. Even Fenn mentioned that the blaze could be white. Well, when I got there, yeah, it was definitely of a lighter color. You can almost say it might have been white. This blaze was at the top of the coke ovens themselves. And at the top of actual coke ovens is where all the excess heat, and if it's hot enough, you'll see a blaze. So when you are wise enough and found the blaze, look quickly down, your quest to cease. That was the end of the trail.
Like I figured, Tari, scamp. Because Tari, of course, tar, and scamp means little. But instead of thinking Tari scant, Tari little with marble. So what's a little bit of tar? And what would you belittle? What would be little? Like a sap. Tree sap. And marble, also defined when looking online as a wide opening. So, what has a little bit of sap and a wide opening? But I don't see anything that looks like it would just sit there in plain sight. It'd have to be more hidden. Tarry scant with marble gaze. Gaze. Footprints. Which means I'm not the only one that's been looking around out here. I think it'd have to be like an obvious tree. A tree, not like this, but like in time would take a lot longer to change. Okay. So I just put my hand down there and sap. From what I'm seeing here, could have possibly been the lane resting spot. Because look, there's the grass spot if you look at the picture carefully. And yeah, there are twigs and trees, but look at how nestled this is with everything else. I know it seems like plain sight, but it's facing away from there. Look, again, this entire tree, hollowed out, marble. Here's the standard ruler. Alright, so we're gonna look, make sure that measures exactly 10 inches. That's just under 10. That's just about under 10. About 10. About 10. Now, let's see if it could have fit in the spot. Up in a corner like this. Kept it right in the midst of all this. It's hard to tell if this is the spot, but if you look at the pictures, look. Pine cone. Another remnants of pine cone. More pine cone. Proof that it was grassy on the spot too. Of course it's kind of dead now, but given a few weeks, grass will lose its color. I really do hope this is it.
Well, there you have it, the location where I believe Finn actually hid his treasure for so many years. And I only feel convinced because, well, every clue for me at least seemed to have lined up. Nothing was taken, undermined or underdetermined. And I went there to see for myself. And it looks like it must have been that spot. But again, it's not just me who feels convinced of where it is. Also, there are tons of other searchers that have done their research. And for all I know, I could be completely wrong and they could be completely right. And so they might have been really close. But this is just based on the facts that I came up with, that I concluded with. Again, I'm no historian, I'm no archaeologist. I'm just someone who likes to solve riddles. And it came upon this location. I had a lot of fun doing it. And although I missed not knowing if it might have actually been hidden there, the journey itself was fun, and it was an incredible view of Colorado National Monument when I was there. So I hope those who watch, take this as more for entertainment and a little bit of education than anything else. So I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I wish everybody, happy hunting, and just like you mentioned, it's about the thrill of the chase. So